was a quiet Tuesday morning. The sun barely peeked through the tall city buildings, and Officer Lisa Harris was just finishing her routine patrol. She thought it was going to be like any other day. Routine checks, coffee on the go, and paperwork piling up. But nothing could have prepared her for what was about to happen. Lisa pulled into the small, almost empty parking lot of the local supermarket. Her eyes caught a man, tall, nervous, shuffling his feet as he held a plain brown bag. Something about him didn't feel right. She tried to ignore it at first. After all, in a city this size, odd behavior wasn't uncommon. But when he slipped the bag into her parked car while she grabbed her notepad, she froze. Time seemed to stop. She stared at the bag for a second, heart racing, unsure whether to confront him or wait. Curiosity battled caution. Carefully, she approached her car and peeked inside. Inside the bag was nothing ordinary. There were documents, envelopes, and something that looked official, a federal warrant. Her name? No, not hers. The name on the warrant sent a chill down her spine. This wasn't just a random bag left behind. This was connected to a case she didn't even know was active. Lisa had been a cop for almost 10 years. She had seen it all, or at least she thought she had. But this was something different. The name on the warrant belonged to Detective Mark Collins, a man she had known professionally, respected and trusted. How could his name be on a federal warrant? And why was it hidden in her car? Her mind raced. Should she call her superior? Or go straight to the federal office? The instructions on the warrant were clear. It was urgent. But if she acted too fast, would she endanger herself? Or worse, tip off whoever had left the bag? Lisa took a deep breath and remembered the first rule she had learned at the academy. Trust your instincts. Something was off, and she needed to handle it carefully. Slowly, she took out the warrant and began to read. Every line made her more shocked. The warrant wasn't for a small-time criminal. It was for someone very dangerous, someone with connections that could ruin lives. And right now, somehow, Lisa Harris was caught in the middle of it. As she tried to make sense of it, her phone buzzed. A message flashed across the screen. We know what you found. Move carefully. Her heart skipped a beat. Someone was watching. Someone knew she had the bag. The morning sun suddenly seemed too bright, too revealing. Lisa knew one thing for certain. This was the beginning of a game she didn't plan to play, and the stakes were higher than anything she had ever faced. She had two choices: ignore it and pretend she didn't see the bag, or dig deeper and risk everything. Lisa's hand tightened around the warrant. She knew what she had to do. If you think you could handle a situation like Lisa's, keep watching to see what happens next. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to follow the full story as it unfolds. Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that someone was following her. Every step she took, every turn down the street made her pulse race. She glanced in her rearview mirror, catching shadows where there shouldn't have been any. But when she stopped and stared, the street appeared empty, too empty. Her mind spun with possibilities. Who left the bag? Why Mark Collins' name? And most importantly, what was in the bag that could get her, or anyone else, into serious trouble? She parked her car behind a coffee shop and ducked inside, hoping to gather her thoughts without drawing attention. The barista smiled at her, oblivious to the storm raging in her mind. Lisa ordered a black coffee, but her hand trembled as she clutched it. The bag, still at her feet, seemed heavier now, not physically but emotionally. Opening the bag carefully, she examined its contents again. The envelopes were stamped with official seals, some marked confidential or top secret. And then she saw it. Digital drive labeled simply, Evidence, Mark Collins. Her stomach churned. She had known Mark as a by-the-book detective, someone loyal to the badge. But if this drive contained evidence against him, then her entire perception of him might be wrong. Or worse, he might be in danger. Lisa's phone buzzed again. Another message: do not open the drive. They are watching. Her eyes widened. Who is watching? Who are they? She whispered to herself. But before she could think further, a man in a dark hoodie appeared outside the coffee shop window. He paused, looked in, and then walked away slowly, deliberately, as if to make sure she had noticed him. Lisa's heart skipped. Whoever this was, they were connected. She had no choice now. She had to act, and quickly. Lisa decided to drive to the police precinct. She needed backup, advice, and someone she could trust. But even as she started the engine, a nagging thought hit her. What if Collins was the target? Or worse, what if he was involved in something she couldn't even imagine? By the time she arrived at the precinct, she had made her decision. She couldn't wait for orders. She had to take the first step, alone if necessary. She entered her office and closed the door. Sitting at her desk, she plugged the drive into a secure police laptop. The files that popped up made her eyes widen in disbelief. There were intercepted communications, photographs, financial records, all pointing to a massive criminal operation spanning multiple states. And at the center of it all was a name she never expected, Detective Mark Collins. But as Lisa scrolled, a new file opened automatically, a video. She clicked it, her hands shaking. The screen showed Mark Collins talking urgently on the phone in a parking garage. They can't know I have the evidence. If they find out, I'm done. Everything falls apart if they trace this back to Lisa Harris. Lisa's stomach sank. He wasn't the criminal. He was hiding evidence to protect her. And that meant the people after him or her were dangerous beyond anything she had faced. Suddenly, the office door creaked. Lisa froze. She wasn't supposed to be alone. Slowly, she turned around. Standing in the doorway was a man in plain clothes, badge glinting under the fluorescent light. "Officer Harris," he said calmly, "you shouldn't have opened that drive. You have no idea who's involved." Lisa swallowed hard. "Who are you? What's happening?" He stepped closer. "My name is Agent Daniels, Federal Bureau, and Lisa, you're already in this. There's no turning back." Lisa's mind reeled. Federal involvement meant this wasn't just local crime. This was big. Bigger than anything she had imagined. Her pulse raced, but she had to stay focused. She needed answers, and if Daniels was here, maybe she would finally get some. Agent Daniels leaned over her desk, glancing at the drive. "That evidence you just looked at? It's explosive. It could bring down an entire network of organized crime. But you're not the only one who knows about it. If the wrong people find out you have it, you won't have time to react." Lisa's heart pounded. She felt trapped between fear and determination. She knew one thing. She couldn't back down. Not now. She had to protect the evidence, protect Mark Collins, and most importantly, protect herself. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Another message, "Leave now or you'll regret it." Lisa knew it wasn't an empty threat. Someone knew where she was. But she couldn't just run. She had to act strategically. She looked at Daniels. "What's the plan?" He nodded, pulling out a folder. "We need to secure the evidence. And to do that, we need to set a trap." "A trap?" Lisa's mind raced. This wasn't routine patrol anymore. This was life or death. But deep down, she felt a surge of determination. She wouldn't let fear control her. She had stumbled into something huge, and she would see it through, no matter the cost. That night, the streets were quiet. Eerily quiet. Lisa and Daniels drove to a prearranged safe house. The digital drive securely locked in Daniels' briefcase. Every shadow, every passing car made Lisa tense. But then a thought struck her. What if Mark Collins had left clues elsewhere? What if the danger was already inside the very place she thought was safe? They entered the safe house cautiously, checking every corner. The room was empty, lights dimmed, but the feeling of being watched lingered. Lisa's eyes scanned every detail, every corner, looking for anomalies. That's when she saw it. A small envelope taped under the table. Lisa opened it. Inside was a note, written in hurried, scrawled handwriting, "Lisa, trust no one. They are closer than you think. Keep the drive safe. Collins is counting on you." Her hands shook as she read it. Someone knew. Someone was monitoring her. The trap was not just set outside, it was inside, and Lisa realized the stakes were higher than ever. The next move she made could outdetermine everything. Her life, the investigation, and the people she was trying to protect. Lisa sat back, her mind racing, but her resolve hardened. She couldn't back down. She couldn't make a mistake. The night stretched ahead of her like a battlefield, full of unseen threats and hidden dangers. But she knew one thing for certain. The story wasn't over. And she was at the center of it. The tension is rising and the danger is closer than ever. To see how Lisa uncovers the shocking truth and faces the people trying to stop her. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the explosive conclusion. Lisa couldn't sleep. The safe house was silent. but the feeling of being watched refused to leave her. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow outside the window made her jump. She clutched the digital drive tightly, her mind racing through every scenario. She had no choice now. She had to confront this head-on. By morning, Agent Daniels had arranged a secure meeting. Lisa was to meet Mark Collins at a discreet location outside the city. The drive, the threats, and the mysterious notes all pointed to one thing. A showdown was inevitable. Driving through the deserted roads, Lisa couldn't shake the image of the envelope under the table. Whoever was watching her had access to everything, her movements, her plans, her thoughts, but she pushed the fear aside. Collins was out there, counting on her, and she couldn't fail him. When they arrived at the meeting point, Lisa spotted Mark immediately. He looked tense, more so than she had ever seen him, but his eyes held a determination that mirrored her own. Collins approached, scanning the area as he walked toward her. "Lisa," he said quietly, "you have no idea what's at stake. This drive, it has evidence that could take down the entire network, but they won't let it go without a fight, and they're ruthless." Lisa nodded. "I know, but we can't stop now. We have to act, or more people will get hurt." Mark handed her a small device. "This is a tracker jammer. Use it. Whoever's following you won't know your next move." Lisa tucked it into her pocket, feeling a small surge of hope. They were ready to move, but first they had to ensure the drive was secure. Collins led her to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. It was empty, quiet, the perfect place to plan their next move without drawing attention. Inside, they spread out the contents of the drive on a secure laptop. Photos, bank transfers, messages. It was worse than Lisa had imagined. This criminal network spanned multiple states, with corrupt officials and powerful figures involved. Every file was a piece of a puzzle that had been hidden from law enforcement for years. They've been untouchable because no one could trace the evidence back to them, Collins explained. Until now. Lisa stared at the screen, realizing the magnitude of what they held. This was not just about catching criminals, it was about exposing a system that had allowed them to operate freely for years. She swallowed hard. She had always known she could make a difference, but this was monumental. Suddenly, the warehouse door creaked. Both Lisa and Collins tensed. Collins grabbed his gun instinctively, scanning the shadows. A figure stepped into the light. It was Agent Daniels. "We've been tracking the suspects. They know the drive has been compromised. They're moving fast. If we don't act now, they'll intercept it, and everything will be lost." Lisa felt a surge of adrenaline. This was it. The moment of truth. They had to move. Collins and Lisa grabbed the drive, and Daniels led them to a hidden exit. Outside, black SUVs were parked at a distance, engines idling. Lisa's heart pounded. They were already surrounded, and the clock was ticking. Collins whispered, "Stay calm. Follow my lead." They moved silently, weaving through alleys and back streets, the SUVs following but maintaining distance. Lisa clutched the drive tightly, knowing that if it was lost, everything they had fought for would vanish in an instant. They reached a small, abandoned parking lot. Collins pulled out a phone. "I'm calling our backup. They'll intercept the SUVs further down the road. We just need to hold them off until then." Lisa's hands shook, but she forced herself to focus. They were almost there, almost to safety. Then it happened. From the shadows, men in black tactical gear emerged, guns drawn. Lisa froze for a split second, but Collins reacted instantly, pulling her down behind a stack of crates. Shots rang out, echoing through the empty parking lot. Lisa's heart raced. But she remembered everything she had learned over the past 2 days. Stay calm. Stay focused. Survive. She moved quietly with Collins, ducking and weaving, keeping the drive safe. Agent Daniels appeared from another alley, taking cover and returning fire. The attackers were skilled. But Lisa noticed something. They weren't professionals. Their movements were frantic, disorganized. Whoever had sent them underestimated Collins and the federal backup. In the chaos, Lisa saw an opening. She bolted with the drive, sprinting toward a side exit Daniels had pointed out. Her lungs burned, adrenaline pumping through her veins. She glanced back. Collins and Daniels were holding the attackers at bay, giving her precious seconds. She reached a van waiting at the edge of the lot. The doors opened and she jumped in. Collins and Daniels followed shortly after. As the van sped away, she finally allowed herself to breathe. They had survived the initial attack, but the fight wasn't over. Back at a secure federal location, Lisa watched as Collins transferred the drive's contents to a secure government server. Every file was backed up, every detail logged. The evidence would now be untouchable. Collins looked at her, exhaustion written across his face. "You did well, Lisa. I couldn't have done this without you. You trusted me even when everything seemed impossible. That's what made the difference." Lisa felt a rush of pride mixed with relief. The danger wasn't completely over, but they had taken the first critical step. They had the evidence, and now it was in the right hands. Agent Daniels entered the room. "The federal team will take it from here. They'll dismantle the network piece by piece. You two will be protected, but Lisa, you've changed everything with your courage." Lisa looked down at the drive, now empty but still heavy with the weight of their mission. She realized that sometimes being in the right place, at the right time, and having the courage to act could change the course of lives. As she left the secure location, Lisa thought about the journey, the fear, the danger, and the responsibility she had carried. She knew one thing for sure. She would never underestimate her own strength again. The road ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time in days, she felt hope. Hope that justice could prevail. Hope that bravery, even in the face of fear, could make a difference. And hope that ordinary people could stand up to extraordinary dangers and survive. The story of courage, danger, and survival doesn't end here. If you loved Lisa's journey and want to see more real-life stories that keep you on the edge of your seat, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Don't miss the next thrilling tale that proves bravery can change everything.